The fight between the centre and WhatsApp has now reached the Delhi High Court. The tech giant has dragged the government to court, claiming that the new IT rules pose a threat to the company's privacy policy for users. Countering WhatsApp charges, the IT ministry made it very clear it does recognize and respect right to privacy as a fundamental right, but national security comes first.
It's the government of the world's biggest democracy against the world's biggest messaging app. After years in a tense tussle over privacy, things are on their most aggressive collision course now. WhatsApp has dragged the government of India to court, looking to block regulations that the Facebook-owned app and experts say would break privacy protections to users. The key to this new flashpoint is the Indian government's insistence that messages be traceable to their origins. In a statement, WhatsApp has said that such a requirement would break end-to-end encryption and fundamentally undermine every user's right to privacy. WhatsApp's lawsuit principally asked the Delhi High Court to declare that the government's rule is a violation of privacy rights in India's constitution, since it requires social media companies to identify the first originator of information when authorities demand it. Responding to WhatsApp, the government of India has said that it respects right to privacy and recognizes it as a fundamental right. The IT ministry says that the new norms are only for prevention and investigation of serious offences and that none of the measures will impact WhatsApp's functioning.
The bigger issue is that there is no judicial scrutiny, as the judicial scrutiny can easily be bypassed by an order issued under Section 69 of the Information Technology Act.
This is unfortunately a continuation of these platforms trying to duck their responsibility, and it is time that these platforms became more accountable to the consumers that they serve.
The escalating face-off ending up in court clears the decks for decisions that could have an impact not just on WhatsApp but across social media. The core of the divergence is WhatsApp's insistence that asking for message source undermines the very essence of encryption and privacy of users. With the case in court, what happens next isn't just something WhatsApp and 390 million Indian users will be looking out for, but other social media apps as well. And here's why. Any verdict in the case would set a precedent for other messaging apps, including Signal and Telegram. Also, WhatsApp happens to use the Signal protocol for end-to-end encryption, so the wider impact is clear to see. Legally, things couldn't be more locked and loaded. A tech giant in a tense grapple with a powerful government. Bureau Report, India Today.
So WhatsApp has made it very clear, the new IT rules mean an end to privacy. Joining me on India First is Amit Malviya, National in charge of BJP's Information and Technology Department and co-in charge of West Bengal. Amit Malviya, WhatsApp says asking for the first originator of a message is equivalent of asking them to keep a fingerprint of every message, which would break end-to-end encryption and undermine right to privacy.
Gaurav, first of all, we have to understand that India is a democracy. We have a constitution and we have rules of law that dictate how we operate. And no private entity, whether it's WhatsApp or Twitter or Facebook, can be above that. They can't arrogate to themselves the right to sit in judgment of things. Now let's come to what the government of India is saying. The government of India is merely saying that there are instances such as national security, law and order, child pornography, and crime of sexual nature against women, namely rape. In such instances, if the agencies or a legal authority demands, then WhatsApp, or for that matter, any other platform, must give the details of the first originator, the person who started the initial conversation or the chain that created the crime or the frenzy associated with it. Now, you would agree that all governments have the responsibility of ensuring law and order, or at least ensuring that pedophiles and sexual crimes do not happen. if there are people and if there are inimical interests that are using these platforms to get away, how do we check them? If terrorists are using platforms such as WhatsApp, or for that matter, Twitter, or platforms like Facebook to recruit young people and radicalize them, how do we check it?
The Congress says, Amit Malviya, the Congress says the new intermediary rules are dire, drastic and draconian. So it's not just the rules, it's also the manner in which your government, the BJP government stands accused of putting, for example, the sedition laws. So, you had Abhishek Manu Singhvi who says this displays the government's big brother attitude on display.
Look, the Congress is going to say something like this. And it's not surprising that the Congress is today siding with those who want to be neo-colonizers in this country. They have a history of using foreign interference to further their politics in India. But let me come to the substantive issue. There is an IT Act, and the government, through an additional rules, can frame the architecture for how it is going to implement it. And I don't think it is in violation of law. And if it is, the courts will look into it. But we are very clear, and so are several legal luminaries who have been looking at this matter very closely, that it does not interfere. I want to ask the Congress party a counter question. In 2020, last year, Meera Kumar, their own senior leader and former Lok Sabha speaker, her Facebook account was locked. And she had no way to seek any redressal or air her grievance till it became a political issue and Facebook had to then step in. So clearly the government of India, while it is flaming these intermediary rules, is asking for several issues, and WhatsApp is just a part of it. The key issues are that appoint a resident compliance officer, a contact officer, a grievance redressal officer. Now that's not too much to ask for. If
but
you are going
what is the end goal? You want these people appointed because you want, whether it's Facebook or WhatsApp or Twitter, you want them to work under your thumb, as the opposition alleges. They say this is an attempt. Ultimately, the goal is to stifle dissent. Opposition voices or voices that oppose you, they would be charged with sedition, and then pressure would be put on Twitter or on other platforms to either remove that content or to give information, and there's no privacy and there's no free speech, sir.
Look, Gaurav, this is a very fallacious argument. The government of India has very clearly said that it applies only to 4 instances of terror activities, of law and order, child pornography, and sexual crime against women. Now, political dissent is not part of it. So clearly the opposition is muddying waters here. Let's go issue by issue, and you will realize that in no way infringes on the privacy of common citizens. And let's not forget, WhatsApp is also saying that we are fine to share information as long as it comes from a valid legal authority. The government of India is saying that it could be a valid legal authority, and those designated under the 69 IT Act rules that we have.
If I may, that's where the trouble comes in. WhatsApp very clearly has said in court that the new rules lack, in their application in the Delhi High Court, explicit parliamentary backing. The point being that officers of the government can now demand any information. It should be a legal demand. It should come from a court of law based on perhaps some preliminary investigation. If courts say, perhaps WhatsApp can be asked to comply.
Gaurav, WhatsApp is sharing all our data with the parent company Facebook. Clearly, senior designated officials of Government of India are more reliable and more responsible than some of these unknown names and faces in Facebook. If your entire data with all details is with another private company called Facebook because it happens to be the holding company of WhatsApp, then clearly that argument doesn't hold. Secondly, the courts look at evidences when it is produced to them. They look at documents, and providing evidence, providing document is the job of the agencies. So naturally, one of the ways of asking these tech giants to provide information is through the court route. It also means that there are certain designated officials and not everybody who can ask for that information. And I think that should be very acceptable to these companies if they want to operate here in India, which is one of the largest markets in the world. They derive their valuation from here. They derive their money from here. So they have to abide by the laws of the land here. We have a constitution. We are not banana republic, and these tech giants are not laws unto themselves.
The government wanted manipulated media tag removed from, your party colleague Sambit Patra's tweet. Police even went to Twitter office. Twitter not only did not comply with that, they also added Raman Singh, former Chief Minister of Chhattisgarh, but other BJP leaders and members to that manipulated media list. Is Big Tech not complying with government orders, be it a manipulated media tag or compliance of a nodal officer or grievance redressal officer? Where does this then leave the government? Are they cocking a snook at the government? And the word that you used, neo-colonizers, what does that mean, sir?
Gaurav, let's for the minute keep the government out of the equation. You look at the American elections, they deplatformed Donald Trump, the sitting US president. Now, that is the kind of power that they can exercise, and that is the kind of interference that they can have in your democratic process. France, Germany, several African nations, all of them have complained that these tech platforms have at some point in time interfered with the democratic process. Now, would we want our democracy to be held hostage to such interventions is the question that we must ask. As far as putting manipulated tags on some leaders of my party is concerned, I want to ask Twitter, and that's exactly why Delhi police went looking for officials in Twitter when they had to serve a notice saying, what is it that you know beyond what the agencies already know? And if there is a matter which has a FIR registered by the Congress party, which is under investigation by agency of the government of India, how is it that Twitter can sit in judgment of that? That is the question we should be asking. This debate should be about partisan politics. The Congress cannot be speaking for Twitter because it happens to be in opposition. Because at the end of the day, if Twitter is going to arbitrate on India's political matters, on India's democratic process, then it is a matter of concern. And it applies to Facebook, it applies to WhatsApp, it applies to Twitter, it applies to every other social media platforms. And I call them neo-colonizers because these companies today want you to think in a certain way, they serve you information in a certain way, they speak of privacy, but violate it in the first instance. And that is where the problem lies. You've got to look at the issue on a much larger canvas.
Fair enough.
Do you want millions and millions of Indians held hostage to these companies? I mean, you could be having a conversation with your spouse about a holiday on Facebook Messenger, and next you see that an ad pops up for property in that destination. Now, isn't that violation of privacy if you really want to go down that path? But the government has still been very conservative and said, we'll ask for information where it pertains to national security, law and order, child pornography, and sexual crime against women.
Let me now throw this open.
For young children to be exposed to pedophiles.
Okay. Amit Malviya, for the moment, many thanks for joining me. Let me now throw this open. I have Aman Pawar joining me from the Congress Party. Nikhil Pahwa is a digital rights activist. Rahul Srivastav, our National Affairs Editor, joining me. Also with me is Sanju Verma of the Bharatiya Janata Party. But my first question is to you, Aman Pawar. 2 points that the government spokesperson, the BJP spokesperson and the government in a press release have said. One, government says right to privacy cannot override national security. Or for example, child porn or call to violence. Why should WhatsApp not provide this information to the investigating agencies, sir?
Gaurav, firstly, the fact that Mr. Malviya has not read the rules is very evident from his argument, apart from the fact that it is laughable that the BJP, which made a meteoric rise through these platforms, Twitter, WhatsApp, etc., are today trying to muzzle them. The question today is about our privacy. And the track record of the BJP is extremely, extremely poor. in 2017, you will recall.
Sir, I
when
asked
the
you a very
case
specific question.
Yes, I am
Sir,
coming to
sir,
that.
I
am
asked you a
coming
very
to that.
specific question. Government
10
says
minutes
right to
Amit
privacy
Malviya.
cannot override national security, child porn,
Yes.
or call to violence. In
I am
your
coming to
view,
that.
why should WhatsApp not provide this information to investigating agencies in the name of right to privacy?
So Gaurav, the government says that the government wants to protect the right to privacy. It is the same government which in 2017 had given an affidavit in the Supreme Court saying that right to privacy is recognized as a fundamental right, but the Supreme Court rejected that argument. 9 judges of the Supreme Court and upheld a right to privacy as a fundamental right. Now coming to the rules, as far as internal security, child pornography, etc., that Mr. Malviya was talking about, what is very contentious in these rules that needs to be pointed out, which Mr. Malviya did not at all speak about. Rule 4D. Now, Rule 4D clearly says that the government has the power to remove any content or trace back the original originator, the first person who had posted that message, the message which is defamatory in the eyes of the government. Now, before these rules came into force, defamation was a subject matter that could only be decided by courts. Now, the government says that we will decide what is defamatory in our eyes. And what was defamatory? We had just saw that the government had lodged cases against people who had posted oxygen demands on social media, journalists who were covering the unpreparedness of the Modi government in the COVID crisis. We saw 17 people in Delhi being arrested for putting up posters regarding vaccine.
Yes.
So if the government is going to decide that what is defamatory, what are the courts going to do?
Sanju Verma, respond. It's an issue of credibility, says the opposition. And you heard Pawan, Aman, and you also heard Abhishek Manu Singhvi, who said this is exactly the North Korean model of media control. Control agencies, control social media. That's exposing you.
You know, Gaurav, I will come straight to the point. First and foremost, what exactly has the government said? Please understand that the government had notified the new rules which will supersede the IT Act of 2000 for significant social media intermediaries, SSMI. They were given 3 months to ensure that there was adherence to compliance norms. All that the government is saying that any social media, internet or OTT platform with 50 lakh, as in 5 million users or more, has to ensure that they adhere to these norms. Otherwise, they will lose their intermediary status, which till now has served as a protective shield, which effectively means that till now, if a third party was posting content on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, what have you,
okay,
Twitter was not criminally culpable. Facebook was not criminally liable because they were given protection. The government allowed Amit Pawar so long. Why is it that the moment I start, you start interrupting?
No, ma'am. He raised a very specific point. You want to respond to that very specific point that Aman Pawar raised, that defamation is to be decided by a court of law and not by the government of the day.
I don't understand. You allowed a full-fledged monologue to the Congress, 30 seconds into what I say, and you jump in. You know, either allow me to speak or don't call me for these debates.
Okay, finish your point.
Thank you. The simple point, Gaurav, is that all that the government is saying, you cannot have this attitude of my way or the highway. Chit bhi mera, pat bhi meri. You want protective shield by way of being granted an intermediary status. Fine, the government is willing to grant you that. But in lieu of that, you have to adhere to the new norms that were notified on 25th February 2021, superseding the IT Act of 2000. Now, why should that be a problem? I want to ask one question. Does Twitter have a problem adhering to the law of the land in the United States of America? No. In the United Kingdom? No. In Germany? No. In France? No. Why should Twitter, with 1.75 crore users, why should WhatsApp, with 53 crore users, have a problem adhering to the law of the land in India?
Okay.
And let me tell you, for all those people who say that this is unconstitutional, just 1 second, Gaurav. Please, I want to tell people like Nikhil Pawar, who's on your show, because I've been on another debate with him, there is nothing unconstitutional. Article 5, Article 6.
Let him say it before you counter it.
But
Nikhil Pawar, Nikhil
clearly
Pahwa, as on
defines
date,
what is sovereignty.
Is the Supreme Court of India.
okay, Nikhil Pahwa, as on
declaring
date,
them
Who
that
is
it is
Nikhil
as on
Pahwa?
date,
Who is
are
Nikhil
WhatsApp
Pahwa?
and Twitter and
A
other
jailed
social media
digital
platforms.
activist?
Hold on. Okay, Sanju Verma, you made your point. Are these social media platforms in violation of IT rules that they've yet to announce the appointment of a nodal officer, a compliance officer, and a grievance redressal officer?
Yes, absolutely they are. These platforms haven't appointed most of these platforms haven't appointed these officers, and many of them have job posts out for these roles, so they are in violation of the rules. Now, according to the IT rules, it means that they would have, at this point in time, already lost their intermediary status, which means that instead of just being transmitters of information from one user to the other, they would now be treated as publishers of this information. So they have liability right now, and at the scale at which this happens, for example, there are 1 billion hours of video on YouTube, they will not survive this liability. And I think this is exactly why you're more likely to see some of these more of these platforms going to court, because I think the 3 months timeline for putting all these processes in place. Remember, many of them have hundreds of millions of users, and the grievance officer is supposed to respond only within 15 days. They would have needed more time to set all of these processes into place.
Okay.
I think the government should have given them more time to do this. But to a previous point that was made, I think if WhatsApp has information on child pornographers, on terrorists, on all of these entities, it should provide it to the government. The problem is, and the problem for the government is, it does not collect this information. So the question that we have to ask is, if it doesn't collect this information, should it be forced to collect it? And that's the question that courts have to answer. That can the government force any entity to collect the data that it is architected to not collect? And when it starts collecting this information, it'll have to collect it on everyone. And the problem with that is essentially that then it has to make the platform more vulnerable, less privacy protective. And that's going to have an impact not just on India, but on a global set of users. So when WhatsApp has gone to court over here, the question it is asking is, should the government be allowed to force it to basically violate the privacy of all of its users to be able to catch the few people who are breaking the law? And that's a question of proportionality which the court has to decide.
Okay. Rahul Srivastava, is big tech then taking on the Narendra Modi government? As you heard Amit Malviya and several people in the government now seem to indicate that they do not want to play by Government of India rules. Going to court perhaps is WhatsApp's right. What about Twitter? Twitter is not complying with government rules or orders.
Sort of, if you hear all the arguments, there is a lot of battle over privacy, rights, and everything. But I think lost in this whole debate is one fact that WhatsApp, Twitter, and others are not out here in India or anywhere for charity. They are money-making business entities. Today we are talking about, WhatsApp is talking about privacy and right of the people. On the other hand, daily I am getting at least 10 times a warning on my mobile that please accept the new privacy rules in which it will be sharing my data with Facebook. Now Facebook, which has the dubious distinction of going with Cambridge Analytica selling data in 2018, last year there were some 53 crore people data which was leaked into the market. There is a general crisis happening all over the world, Gaurav. In Australia, Facebook has blocked Indian news media because the Australians are saying you have to pay for the user's content. In 7 other countries, there is similar problem. Twitter had to pay, is likely to pay some $300 million for misuse of data. These entities are business entities, Gaurav. The problem is that a lot of, yes, the government can have ill intent, that the government can be dealt in 5 years by the public. I think the public should not be lost as far as the focus of this debate is concerned. A public can remove a government in India, but it is difficult to deal with these companies at this moment. A regulatory framework is becoming the order world over.
Okay.
I think it's a global debate. How
Nikhil
India
Pahwa,
places itself.
before
That's
I
the
bring in-
critical element,
Yes.
privacy of the Indians, and that's the other important point.
That's the point, Nikhil Pahwa. If they need to operate in India, they need to operate in India on Indian rules. If they have issues, they need to take it up with the government. But not complying is not done, Nikhil Pahwa, when it comes to Twitter. WhatsApp, of course, has gone to court. Courts will arbitrate. But when it comes to Twitter, if the Delhi police want to know on what basis have you said it's manipulated media, they need to respond.
No, so look, Gaurav, nothing in Indian law prevents Twitter from adding a manipulated media tag to any tweet. It's a private platform and it's performing a public function, but nothing in law prevents them from adding this tag. Nothing prevents them from removing this tag also. And therefore, the Indian government missed a trick in the IT rules when it did not create provisions for this. But to another point, the IT rules themselves are not in compliance with the IT Act. And the rules cannot do what the Act does not allow. And therefore, there is going to be a problem for government to back these rules in court.
And Sanju Verma, that's the point that WhatsApp has also made in court.
That Sanju was responding to, right?
That's the
law
point,
doesn't
Sanju
allow them
Verma.
to do these things. So
Yes.
the government can't ask them to do what the law doesn't allow.
Respond,
Can I
Sanju
please come in,
Verma.
Gaurav?
That's the point WhatsApp has also made in court, that what the government expects them to do is not
By
what
the way, just
the
to
parliament has
clarify,
cleared.
Gaurav, WhatsApp is not the best
You know,
platform
I
from a
work on
privacy
Nikhil Pahwa, Gaurav,
perspective.
can I speak
Facebook
Yes, please respond.
has been violating privacy all this while,
please
and
ask
I
him
would
to
say
keep
that
quiet.
people
He's
should
been going on and
move
on and
from
on.
WhatsApp to Signal.
Oh my
Signal
God.
is far more privacy
respond.
protected.
Okay, Nikhil,
Signal is
let
far better.
Sanju Verma respond.
You know, I'm absolutely flummoxed and I find it quite hilarious that Nikhil Pahwa keeps saying the government can only request. The government cannot ask. The government cannot demand. Excuse me. Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp, what have you, all these intermediaries, OTT platforms, they have to abide by the law of the land. Twitter, in fact, Gaurav, Twitter Communications India Private Limited is a registered company wide February 20th, 2013 under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs.
Yes.
So all the rules that apply to any company that is registered under the NCA apply to Twitter India as well. Please get that loud and clear, Mr. Pahwa. And on
Yeah,
the
but
one
come to
hand,
the
you
substantive point, ma'am. You wanted
Yes,
them, your
so the
government
second
wanted
point.
them to remove that manipulated media tag. They haven't. They're cocking a
Okay.
snook at you, ma'am, at your government.
Okay, I'm coming to that, Gaurav. Please, I heard you. Gaurav, now tell me one thing. WhatsApp trying to, file a case at the government in the Delhi High Court. I think that's very flimsy. They tried this trick. It's a one pony trick that they tried in the European Union as well when they said they give us the right to mine data, which can be used by a sister company, the Facebook users. But the European Union had nothing doing and they said point blank, WhatsApp data cannot be mined by either Instagram or Facebook, though the owners of all the three are the same Mark Zuckerberg. And why? Can WhatsApp follow the rules in the European Union with respect to data mining and privacy? But when it comes to India, it feels that it has the right. And look at the cheek and the audacity going to the Delhi High Court. I'm sure that their petition will fall flat on the face because there's a clear precedence and convention that data mining by one company cannot be allowed by another sister company, even if both the companies are owned by the same individual or parent. So why should Facebook mine data of WhatsApp users? And as far as blaming the government is concerned, excuse me, let me tell you, the government has clearly said the traceability rules will apply only in the case of encroachment or threat to national integrity, sovereignty, and you keep asking who determines what's a threat. Please go back, educate yourself, read Article 5, 6, and 7 of the Indian Constitution.
Aman Pawar wants to come in.
Article 19 clearly says no freedom is absolute. There are reasonable restrictions with respect to public order, morality, and health.
Okay.
This is for all those who are today
when
saying,
the law...
please give Twitter unlimited freedom, and this is the same bunch which allowed Section 66A, the draconian one, to come in until it was removed by
on this issue, on this issue, fine, 66A is a separate part. No, ma'am, hold on. Ma'am, you've made your point. Aman Pawar, protest if and when the law is wrongfully applied. the Congress is a big political party. Ma'am, okay, you've made your point. If you just keep speaking, I can't go to my other guests. Aman Pawar, protest if and when the law is wrongfully applied. The BJP accuses the Congress of batting for a foreign firm, which the BJP spokesperson just described as a neo-colonizer in our country. That they want to make money in India, but don't want to play by Indian rules, and yet the Congress backs them.
Gaurav, the irony here is that BJP spokespersons are calling them neo-colonizers, are calling them, are saying that they are data miners. Now, the irony here is that these rules that we are talking about in no manner restrict these entities, WhatsApp, Facebook, etc., to not take our data to other platforms. So while they are making this huge argument, a loud argument that they are mining data, these rules have nothing to stop them to mine data from. In fact, these rules are only ammunitions in the arms of the government to look into details of the originators of messages, to call any message be removed from the platform, be it Twitter, Facebook, etc.
So if that message, if the government is asking a wrong message to be removed, hold them, over calls.
Who decides?
Do that.
Who decides now? Who decides that the message is right or wrong?
Is there merit in the BJP saying that Congress is backing Facebook and Twitter and neo-colonizers in our country?
Gaurav, now today, I circulate a message condemning a policy of the government. And the government says that this is defamatory against the government. Kindly trace back the original person who had circulated this message to 100 users. And they can come back to me, say that what you posted about our policy is defamatory. Now you go behind bars. Can that be allowed? Because defamation is something that can only be decided by court.
Yes.
Again, cannot be decided by the government.
Okay. Rahul Srivastav, Rule 4 that Aman also talks about, and Abhishek Manu Singhvi spoke of it this morning. Rule 4 that says identify originator of the communication. This, according to WhatsApp, takes away the privacy of an individual. The government says that's a bogey. There are ways to identify the originator of the complaint. WhatsApp is just trying to dodge following rules in India. Rahul Srivastav.
Gaurav, what is being made out is that the government is asking WhatsApp to virtually monitor every bit stream of encrypted conversations. But what the government is trying to say, just state what the government is saying, is that, say, for example, the case of Delhi riots or some other conflagration, somewhere there has been violence and there was certain degree of provocation. In that, it is not all, but in certain numbers, what kind of conversations took place, who started it, needs to be found out.
Okay.
Yes, there are pitfalls, Gaurav. And for that, there are definitely checks and balances in the system. But Gaurav, the problem here is, again, while the platform and the template which is being used is privacy, our privacy is being mortgaged for commercial benefits by these very companies.
Yes.
So this war is between Twitter Sarkar and Bharat Sarkar. I don't know. I think the people will have to make a choice here.
No.
Okay, Nikhil Pava, if it is between Twitter Sarkar and Bharat Sarkar, and on the aspect that Rahul Srivastav just raised, if there's a riot in the national capital, if there is a WhatsApp, and if that WhatsApp had a role to play in fueling the violence, is it not the government's right and responsibility to know where did that WhatsApp come from, who's the originator, and isn't it the responsibility of WhatsApp to provide that information of who the originator is?
Absolutely. WhatsApp is collecting that information. It is the responsibility to provide it. The government does have other methods of investigation which they can use, going from hop to hop to try and identify people. I know it's tougher. I know it might take more time, but they have the ability to do it.
No, but be that as it may, if it takes time. No, WhatsApp. Sir, my question is very specific. If there is a riot and WhatsApp knows who started that WhatsApp message that led to fueling of that violence, is it their responsibility to give the first originator or not, sir?
Every message that is received by someone has a mobile number attached to it. So, and all mobile numbers in India are basically authenticated through a KYC mechanism. There are mechanisms for finding the originator of a message that already exist. If WhatsApp doesn't collect this information, why do you want them to collect more information? You actually want
WhatsApp does not have information. You are saying WhatsApp does not have information of the first originator. Is that the point you're making?
Exactly. And the thing is, do you really want WhatsApp to collect more data about Indian citizens? I certainly don't, right? In fact, this point that was made about the EU and that the fact that WhatsApp doesn't do data sharing with Facebook in the EU, the reason why that is because EU has a GDPR for privacy. They have a law for privacy. I wish India had a privacy law to prevent WhatsApp from sharing data with Facebook. But this is about surveillance and traceability. We need surveillance reform in the country.
Okay.
Instead of surveillance reform, which the right to privacy judgment actually mandates, the government of India has gone and is trying to push for a more privacy violating regime. And that's
is it a privacy violating regime? Let's say what the Delhi High Court has to say about this, because there are many layers and many nuances here that really need to come out in public domain. And again, the question that is being raised: national security, violence, crime, riots, crimes against women and children. In these situations, these specific situations, is WhatsApp supposed to share that information with the government or not? I leave it at that. That is all I have time for on this part of India First. Many thanks for watching. To all my guests, many thanks. On the other side,